Welcome back to the Intel Extreme Masters Cologne for 2014, our final stop and our final day here, day 4 of 4 in Cologne. Quarterfinals have begun. Apollo's with me. Cracking game to start us off. I could hear how excited you and James were in the commentary booth, but Polt in the end has come through against a very, very tough opponent and might just have shown us some championship form.
That was absolutely championship form, to not buckle under the pressure when playing from behind multiple times, not just in the score, but in the actual games as well. He played some of the best StarCraft that he's played in a long time, and he absolutely now, because coming into the top 8, I don't think a lot of people said, I think Polt can go to the final, but now I think people are.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that either. He also did something during the match, which, as a Terran player, I was quite interested in the first match. I mean, he's always said he's relatively comfortable with blink all-ins, but map 1 suggested he probably wasn't, actually, because it didn't defend that very well. You could argue Classic played actually a perfect blink all-in, but suddenly he gets blink, not quite an all-in, but he gets blinked again, and actually this time he's like, no, you're not doing it again, this is my game now. And it's almost like he's figured out a way to compensate for what we thought didn't exist. So a really good, almost a masterclass really as a Terran.
Yeah, Polt is a player throughout all of StarCraft 2 history, just thinks outside the box, because usually you say, all right, there's an attack going to come, it's going to hit at this time, let me prepare the defense. But then he takes a different approach and says, well, wait a minute, if I'm going to get attacked, let me go into ultra defense mode, but let me counterattack at the same time. And it was something which is very difficult to pull off. It's very risky to pull off. I think I mentioned it in the analysis yesterday. If you get found out in the middle of the map, you're going to lose those units, then you can almost lose the game. He didn't get found out, and he pulled it off. It was very beautiful, very precise, but also very, very risky.
Yep, it was great play indeed. So Polt advances on. Our next game, as we look at the bracket right now, will show that Jjakji's up against another tough Protoss. It's a very similar kind of setup in a way. It's TVP again. It's Rain, who I think many of us consider the favourite for the tournament, against Jjakji, who has been playing absolutely outstandingly for the last, I would say, 6 months or so, and that's probably even doing him a disservice. But definitely since he moved to Switzerland and he's been playing in Europe, he's already qualified for Katowice as well. But here he is facing probably his toughest match in a very long time.
When it comes to form, I like to look at this match and compare it to the first one we just saw. I think Jjakji is not playing as good as Polt. Definitely could be something similar, but so far isn't as quite as good, and Rain is playing better than Classic. So there's just a difference between the both of them, and I think that you have to look at this one in favor of Rain.
Okay, much for now. Take a break with Apollo. He'll be back in a little while. However, ladies and gents, it's time for our second quarterfinal of the day. It's yet another PVT. Hope you're enjoying them at home. It's Jjakji versus Rain.
Thanks very much, Paul, Sean, and Steve, as we now get into our second round of 8 series. And this one is going to be probably just as good as the last. We have Rain versus Jjakji. I'm very excited, Todd. I really am.
I thought you were going to say this one's going to be a cracker here for a second. Then I remembered it's a Red Eyes thing. But it is, in fact, going to be a cracker because both of these players, they are so good. In particular in that matchup, in my opinion.
Yes, yes. Especially when it comes to Rain. Now, I say this, and you really need to pay attention, because since November last year, Rain has played 10 matches against Terrans, like 10 sets against Terrans. And in those 10 matches, he is 20 wins and 1 map loss. In the past couple of series, he hasn't dropped a map at all. And there's people in there like Flash, like Maru, like Supernova, like Dream and Bunny, and my head just explodes at the thought of Rain being this insanely incredible in this matchup, Todd.
Let's just say he's on form versus Terran, to basically sum it up. But his opponent, Jjakji, even though he's had a few missteps, even more so recently than before, versus Protoss, he's still very strong in the matchup as well. So far in this tournament, he was able to beat Deer twice. He did lose to Patience, so he's not looked nearly as convincing as his opponent here, who, in my opinion, Rain right now, if he wins convincingly here versus Jjakji, definitely going to be the favorite versus Polt as well. Going into this round of 8, I really thought, or even this tournament, a lot of people said Rain was one of the favorites to make it far. Sometimes some players disappoint and they don't play that well, and then you start thinking, well, you start doubting. But in this case, this guy has shown so much strength that I really think that right now is the favorite to make it to the finals, at least in the higher part of the bracket.
Yeah, Rain is just... Ever since we saw him come through the Korean qualifiers, yes, he did precede Classic, as Classic took the first spot during all of that, and Rain had to battle it out in the lower bracket against people like SOS, etc. But still, he is a amazing, amazing player that has a great shot at going all the way. Jjakji stands in his way, though. Jjakji has shown recently that he is also on good form.
And actually, we're gonna have Habitation Station, then Daedalus. Not quite what I expected out of the two first maps here played from these players, but it is a best of 5, so each of them only had a single veto, which meant at least Alterzim was removed.
Yeah.
But actually, talking about these two players here, last time that they met was a little bit over 4 months ago, and Jjakji was actually able to beat Rain just before he went on his hot streak, in which he went 20-1 in maps. So did something happen? Did that lose versus Jjakji finally make Rain basically start to realize that he does not want to lose anymore against Terran and practice very hard and start crushing them out? We'll find out. Wouldn't it be funny if like he's basically like that loss is like the reason he's doing so well versus Terran? Like from there on, he's like, Jjakji is my sworn enemy, and I'm gonna practice non-stop against Terran
I
until
saw everything.
I meet him again. And now it's happening.
Well, the thing is about Jjakji is that when he moved over to Europe, a lot of people don't recall the fact that he was one of the 4 Terrans advancing on into Code S. If he'd have stuck around, he would have been in Code S along with those 3 other Terrans that sit there currently that people see as the hopes of Terran advancing on. And Jjakji was right up there. He was right up there with them. And that shows the caliber of play that this guy can bring to the table. But Rain, he is on a level of his own right now in this matchup. Can he be vanquished by the Korean who moved over to Europe?
It's really going to be tough. Going into this match, Jjakji, he definitely is going to have to have some tricks up his sleeve. He's had some good games before, but even though I really thought he might be the most impressive Terran versus Protoss at the time in the tournament, so I do think that Pult and Innovation, they brought a higher level.
Yes.
So right now, I would say guys like Pult or Innovation definitely have a better chance than Jjakji. But this guy, he practices a lot, and he's always ready for his opponent. And we'll see what he comes up with as far as how he has to play. Again, Pult has been doing very well with a style of his own. I'm actually surprised no other Terrans have tried to emulate it or copy it up to some extent. But if that were the case here for Jjakji, this might actually surprise Rain, because even in Korea, I've not seen players really try and split their army in half on maps like Heavy Rain and try to basically inflict a lot of damage and get ahead from there. It's always been small drops and here and there, and just basically not chaotic harassment, but a little bit less organized than what it looked like when Pult was playing.
Yeah, Pult plays it out beautifully. And now, guys, we're going to get into map number 1 of this next round of 8 series. Habitation Station is our first map between Jjakji and Rain. Will Jjakji make it a TVT round of 4, which is the first time it's happened in around 3 years? Or will Rain advance on to go for another TVP? We shall find out here as we start things off in this best of 5, spawning up to the top left-hand corner as our red Protoss representing SK Telecom T1. It's Rain. Boop, boopy, doop, boop. And up to the top right-hand corner here as our blue Terran representing my insanity. It's Jjakji.
Jjakji is one of those Terrans that really likes to play a fairly standard Terran gameplay with expansions, medivac drops. You don't see him pull SCVs all that often or go for huge cheeses. And Rain is actually very similar. In his own way, he's a super defensive Protoss. He knows when to be offensive, he knows when to counterattack a lot of the time. He reads the game well, but I would say he's, especially for a Korean, he's fairly defensive. Remember when every aspect of the players were being basically rated, and his defense was like very close to the maximum rating you could give it. At least I really feel like it made justice to the way he likes to play. So as much as he's going to be predictable, he's very good in execution, and sometimes even though you're predictable, it's still gonna work out just because you're so good at the style you're using. So going into this series, my first big question is, how does he open? Does he go for a light pressure, or does he play super passively with a Robo, a Forge, and then some kind of Colossus tech, or Twilight Council?
Well, we entirely know how Jjakji is going to be opening on the other side of the map. He goes for Command Center first because he is he is confident in this play style. We see him do it a lot against Protoss, and against arguably a player that has some of the best TVP in the world, in Rain. He's just going to do it again.
Yeah, just because of Rain's passiveness, most likely this is a very, very good and viable choice here. Against somebody like MC, would be a little bit risky to go for Command Center first. The only thing you really can't get very far behind against is some proxy, which in this case would even be scouted or found out about, because Jjakji is going for an early scout in this game. I actually think that MC's Zealot Stalker pressure with the Mothership Core on this map wouldn't even do that good against this Command Center first, if well managed. Remember the SCV pool before that we saw?
Yes.
Some of those Terrans really know how to play against it, and I'm pretty sure that Jjakji is one of them.
And eventually the 2 barracks do kick in to provide you with a lot of Marines that can kite back.
You think a third Command Center? Against somebody like Rain, again, this is something you might be able to get away with, but on this map, the location would be very, very important, because if this is spotted with the Mothership Core, there are limits to Rain's passiveness. And you know what? He's actually hiding a Zealot. This is interesting.
That is actually interesting. I guess it was initially there to... Well, actually, I don't think he was scouting out for proxies. I don't think that Jjakji would do something like that in game number 1. So he was hiding that for a long time. Is there any particular reason you can think of?
I thought he was going to try and go for some attack, but I guess this is just, again, a defensive Zealot to make sure there was no eBay thrown down there.
Yeah,
and,
I was about to mention, that's a good thing from Rain to not cancel that, because Jjakji has already shown tendencies against those Protosses to throw that eBay down.
By the way, since Rain opened 2 gases, which already kind of surprises me, he really strikes me more as a 1 gas Nexus kind of guy, could be going for a Stargate here. On this map will make perfect sense, and he might actually go for the scout before. Try and poke in with his Mothership Core, and see what he's up against and then decide. But sadly for him, Jjakji is on point here with his Marines. And we know we're not going to have a third Command Center, actually. Which in this case would have been nice, because he's protecting this from being scouted with the Marines.
Yeah, it's going to work out all right for him.
Oh, Robo.
Ooh.
In a nice corner, actually. I didn't even know that was possible.
All right, so it seems as if he's just going to go for a bit more of a standard macro game.
Yes.
Then,
Surprise.
And wow, it's Rain. Who would have guessed? But in the end, Jjakji does still need to know what's going on. He might just read into his opponent's playstyle in general, because Rain is not exactly like his builds are ever hidden to the world. He's a very, very well-studied player, is Rain, because he's always on top of Protoss right now.
Jjakji is doing basically the most standard follow-up to a Command Center first, with the 3 barracks, getting a single add-on with the Tech Lab, going to be starting Steam momentarily when he's going to have enough gas. He gets the eBay behind this, and then a little bit of a late factory with later tech, but economy-wise, because of that Command Center first, you see he's keeping up very, very well in the worker count, and that's definitely going to help with here, especially with the double mule.
Yep, 34 workers to 31 right now, as Jjakji just powers on out those SCVs, and with that we already have the +1 armor started as well as observers. So Rain's setting himself up defensively, as always, to get those observers on the perimeter of his bases, make sure he's not being dropped at any time. And likewise, Jjakji's just transitioning onto the factory and getting those medevacs out eventually to try and pressure, but Rain's probably not going to give him an inch.
Yeah, Robotics Bay went down. Wouldn't be surprised if this is followed up with a fairly quick Twilight, and in which case it would basically mean that Rain is going into Colossus plus Blink, which, as good as it is, on this map is actually very hard to defend with, because you can Blink from the 3rd to the main base, but it's going to be very, very tricky to execute well. Then again, if there is one guy that can do it well, it will be Rain. And 2 observers already out on the map. He's getting a 3rd one, could even get a 4th one. And the Twilight Council goes down, and this is as predictable as this is from Rain. Again, this is what he's the best at. He's just going to execute this build perfectly and look to basically outplay his opponent from there with his army composition, with his perfect defense. And it's going to be tricky for Jjakji to do any damage. How do you do damage against somebody like Rain, who's ready for everything?
Yeah, well, this is going to be a push out here from Jjakji to try and do something, but at the moment there's not really that many units out here for Rain. It's going to be the Photon Overcharge that really helps him out here to hold on against his 28 armor supply against 21. And Jjakji just looking to flex his muscles a little bit. At least if he can force out a Photon Overcharge, that'd be nice, I guess.
Yeah, but... Oh, actually, he has a lot of Marines here. I think he's definitely going to be able to... We have the first Colossus on the way. If this comes out, actually, no Photon Overcharge will be needed, but this timing will hit just right before. Maybe double force field, actually. Would be nice for Rain to be able to save some energy. Yeah, he's going to go for it.
And this is what we pointed out in the previous series between Pult and Classic. This map is very nice for just 2 sentries at the beginning, because you just can't actually even get the Photon Overcharge in the end.
You know, as much as Pult was successful earlier versus Stardust, when there was a lot of observers in position, look on this map the vision that Rain has right now. He sees the entire middle of the map. There is no way you're going to catch this guy off guard if you don't kill these observers.
Yeah.
So as much as Pult was able to do it, even though he knew he was being seen, I really don't think that is going to be the case here for Jjakji if he does not start sniping these observers.
Exactly.
Look at it.
The only way you're going to get around him is if you go the long way down the south, and then you're wasting a lot of time. By that time, he has a few extra units. He's actually going to just drop in general and try and do something here, which has, to a certain extent, been successful there for Jjakji for a second. Gets a pylon. He is actually pushing on forward to the front, tries to get that Colossus in the end, but he does micro back well with it. Photon Overcharge activated in the main. He's got to be very, very careful. He's doing a few stalkers.
And I think Jjakji, he might actually have had seen that observer, and you know what he did? He did something you're not supposed to do. He boosted right away when the side of that observer was gone, and the units of Rain, as ready as he was trying to get, he was late. Those Stalkers, they were not in position to start shooting down those Medivacs before they dropped the units. So the units being already dropped, if you have only Stalkers against Marine Marauders and Medivacs, they're not going to do well. So Rain, he already started losing more units than he should have here. Look at the units lost count.
Yeah, and Jjakji is reinforcing very quickly with these 2 Medivacs that have just popped. So he's looking to at least pressure with, why would you reinforce this quickly? He might go for a double prong drop. He's going for a 3rd behind this at the gold base, but one thing's for sure, he's trying to keep Rain in the dark. He picks up everything. He picks up everything after the observer goes away. Does he actually see this as he goes forwards?
Oh, he needs to.
There's another observer, yeah. This multiple observers is the absolute linchpin to keeping yourself locked down as a Protoss against Terran.
Jjakji is actually leaving his Medivacs right next to this observer. I think he has not seen it, otherwise he definitely will not be dropping here. Let's see how Rain reacts.
Oh, he gets it. Oh, a nice snipe out there from Rain, moving his Stalkers back just to draw those Medivacs a little bit further forwards, and the blink on forwards as well. He's able to get himself a nice score.
And Jjakji here, having the gold, is going to get so much money. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a huge barrack explosion very, very soon, with at least 3 or more being added on. Possibly another starport will help, since he's playing against Colossus. And Rain goes for the 3rd. He's a little bit behind on the economy, actually more than a little bit. 54 probes against 63 SCVs. Look at the income, more than 2,000 because of that gold base. The thing is, that's his strong timing. He has Blink, he has 3 Colossus, and you can push that gold base, which you almost always should. That's what he's going to do from the low ground too.
That's the real disadvantage of taking that location, unfortunately, for Jjakji. He does lose a few workers, but in the end he can shoot that away. Nice snipe out of one of those Vikings, and he will continue the pressure on this. Bio is having a hard time really combating against that fully because of the position it finds itself in. Even the Time Warp gets dropped on the high ground here. Rain actually sees an advantage. He smells blood in the water. He goes straight for this. Army supply 72 to 59. This is a great position for Rain.
Yeah, and Jjakji clearly underestimated this attack. He might have had to evacuate a little bit earlier. This is the weakness of taking that gold. There are not only advantages to it. I know a lot of players, they think like, oh, he took the gold, there was nothing I could do. No, there is always something you could do, and pushing it the way Rain just did is the way you need to go about it.
It was a great move. Rain, though, he doesn't see it as a killing blow just yet. He pulls on back, gets his 3rd base up. A nice snipe out there from Jjakji to get another observer. Any observers he can get will take away from that Robo's production time on Colossus just a little bit, but Rain's transitioning on nicely with 2-2.
Double forge on the way behind this, and the beautiful positioning on those forges, by the way, and just that Robo as well in the back of his mineral line. This is insane. How do you reach this without taking on the main army?
It's very well positioned, especially when you've got a 3rd base up as well. It's just so hard to get there.
That observer at the top here is going to be very, very important in spotting those Medivacs. Rain sees it, but he's out of position. Oh my god, how does he come back on time? He's quite far away, he might lose.
And he doesn't even have good minerals for warp-ins either, so he warps in 2 Zealots up there, and that's
Yeah.
really not the most amazing usage of that. This is gonna... Oh, that one Colossus is very, very vulnerable. He's gonna try and chase it down. He doesn't get it in the end, though. Forces the lift up.
This was actually scarier than it ended up being, but look at that Colossus count.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Wait, how many Vikings does he have? 10.
Already 6 Colossi out. A 7th one on the way. 2 twos on the way for Rain here against Jjakji, who's only on 2-1 right now. If he gets a crazy Stalker count and really defends against this Colossi, they are gonna do so much damage to that Bioforce of his opponent.
Yeah, it's almost to the point now where, because he's got a 7th Colossus on the way, all the Vikings need to survive for the entirety of the fight.
The SCVs are being pulled.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
They're not getting transferred this time. I made sure of it. They're going the way where the fight is going to take place. And this is, as much as this is a pre-storm timing, you got 7 Colossi.
Exactly. I don't think he can do this.
Look on the right side. The upgrades are about to complete just before the fight begins.
He catches one of those on the initial start of this fight, but Jjakji now is trying to press on forward. Any Viking that falls makes this harder and harder for him. Those SCVs aren't going to do a whole lot against that many Colossi. They're going to die off very quickly. Blinks forward, starts focusing down those Vikings. Very important to bring those down as those Colossus move into the fray now. 2 of these Colossi go below as they were not focused properly here entirely by the Vikings, and all the Vikings will die off. But the one thing that is still missing is not too many gateway units. It's only the Stalkers to the left-hand side, but Rain is taking a huge supply advantage. The Colossi did not die off fast enough, and Jjakji now is on the ropes.
Yeah, this is Rain's trademark here, going for the standard play, defending really, really well until he has his composition, and this timing completely missed.
Nice little move here, though, by Jjakji. Tries to drop on in the main. This is going to buy him a little bit of time, but he needs to buy huge amounts of time at this point.
Actually, an SCV that was dropped here, poor little guy. And Rain from there, he's 2-2, he's getting +3, and GG's called. Wow.
You just can't do anything against that. You may as well just tap out. It was going to be extremely hard to deal with 6 Colossi left remaining there when you have no Vikings.
There was nothing Jjakji could do at this point. He lost so many SCVs. He kind of missed his timing, it felt like. As much as this is supposed to be the right timing, you know, just because you go before Storm. This is what happens usually. You go before Storm and you have enough Vikings to deal with the Colossi. And the SCVs, they do a ton of tanking on the ground, and then your Bioforces plus Medivacs, they finish the rest without AoE, because you're basically only relying on the Colossi to hold this. But I have to say, usually when I see this attack, there's 3 Colossus of 4, not 7.
Yeah, that was kind of scary. I would love to go back into the replay and see how many Chrono Boosts he actually spent on that Robo facility, because...
Yeah, probably most of them.
Yeah, he must have just been furiously powering those Chrono Boosts onto that Robo facility alone, but now... Rain stands 1 game up, and look at him. He's just he just brushes it off like it's nothing.
This is, except for the first drop, which was spotted a little bit late, and against which he still defended decently. This was a flawless game here by Rain. He pressured the gold as he had to, because let me make this clear. If he had not pressured the gold the way he did, there would have been a lot more supply for Jjakji than there was during this attack, and it would have come a lot earlier as well. So attacking the gold the way he did was very, very important. It was his strong timing. It was the timing. He had enough Colossi to take a fight without losing it against the very low amount of Vikings that Jjakji had. And Jjakji, he underestimated this a little bit. He was probably thinking like, he's not all in it. It's Rain, so he's just doing a light pressure. It's not that strong, but it was strong. There was a lot of Colossus, and with some good blink up the ramp, some good sentries ready to force field and all that, he had to evacuate after losing a lot, which is never a good case scenario.
I mean, I'm thinking about how Jjakji could have played that out, and normally in a Terran's position there, if you see that many Colossi, then generally you would have liked to have had a second starport to get extra Vikings out to eventually deal with that heightened number, but with him being pushed away from the gold base, he doesn't really have the economy to properly support that as well as his bioproduction, so he really got stuck.
Yeah, and it's not like he only lost a little bit of mining time. He lost a whole bunch of SCVs. He had to fly away. He had to take another base. And actually, from that point on, he had already decided what he was going to go for, by the way. He stopped making workers for a very long time. From that point on, he was actually quite far behind on workers, like 10 less. And yeah, he had decided that he was going to get as many units as he could. He probably waited for an ideal Viking count, which was definitely over 10. He went for it, but this man, Rain, man, he gets so many units out, and he's always ready
Yeah.
to defend. You can't attack into him. You need to outweight him or be more patient.
Whoa, Todd, hold on. Hold the phone. If Rain wins this and then we see Polt versus Rain in the semi-finals, this is going to be the best day ever. Wow.
It already is the best day ever.
Okay, it was pretty good before, yeah. But that is, oh my god, thinking about that. I might be saying this a little bit preemptively here, but Rain looked fantastic in that game. Apart from that little drop at the beginning, but it looked fantastic.
Yeah, even that, there was no way he could know. Like, his observers, they were not too far and not too close to his base either. So he spotted that on time. And I really pictured something a little bit scarier for those medivacs, like going in and dropping in the middle line and then starting to kill a lot of pros. But actually, if he does that, they will be stuck. And Rain's defense will be good enough to probably save a lot of pros, make sure he doesn't lose that many. So even that wasn't really possible. And just great defense by Rain the whole time.
And let us not forget, Todd, here for this man, the power of Protoss is not applicable because this guy, Rain, before any of that even began, he was still winning championships over in Korea, the hardest region on Earth. He was still performing immensely well with his defensive style and really powering it out. So guys, let's get into game number 2. Let's see if the man, the Jjakji here for My Insanity can bring it back 1-1. I would love to see this go on a little bit further. As we have spawning down to the bottom right-hand corner are Red Protoss, representing SK Telecom T1, it's Rain. And up the top left, we have our Blue Terran, representing My Insanity, it's Jjakji.
I think most people who say that's a power of Protoss thing, they complain mostly about all-ins and all the openers that you can go for in the matchup. But Rain is not one of those guys that actually use a lot of Blink Stalker play.
Yeah.
On this map, actually, it's possible, but again, this is Rain. Seems unlikely. And Rain is basically the Protoss that says, you know what? I'm just going to play standard. You know what I'm going to do. I'm still going to win.
Yeah, exactly.
Where's the power of Protoss? Tell me.
Yeah.
Well, I guess
you know what I'm going to do.
Yeah,
so
I guess people
counter it.
complain about Photon Overcharge too, and he at least uses that. Maybe that's his next challenge. He's gonna be like, you know what? I'm not even gonna make a mothership core for you. He does the same thing. He holds and.
Well, even on that map there, he was like, "Oh, okay, I'm gonna pressure with my three barracks bio units, and then."
Yeah.
Although to be fair, habitation station, force fields are better on that map at the natural than most, so that is an argument for that.
Yes.
But for now, we just have the reactor finished, the refinery finished here for Jjakji, and he's going to get a Reaper over there and have a little bit of a look around. So this is going to be a standard opener from Jjakji. He's scouting out for any proxies that would occur, but come on, this is Rain, man.
An interesting thing happened already here for Rain. Again, he took the same double gas that he did before, but he scouted for in-base proxies, and then he gets a pylon at his ramp. What is he scared of? Some kind of one depot into his base, one racks, and then bunkering?
Ah, actually,
Rain is really
yeah.
Rain is one guy that's almost uncheesable. Cheesing this guy is like, I don't know, like harder than anything ever.
Yeah.
It's actually kind of a lost cause going in to try and cheese this guy. It's rarely worked, and here again he proves why by being very, very careful. But then again, when you're careful like this, it means you don't favor economy early on, which
Likewise.
Rain definitely likes to favor.
Jjakji just scouted out a lot in terms of proxies. He didn't
Yeah.
see the second gas there for a second.
The Zealot was still cancelled, even though there is an SCV on his expansion. So we could be seeing an engineering bay thrown down here in a second. Jjakji, I think he knows that there's probably the same double gas opener, even though he hasn't scouted it. So
And there we go.
He's gonna delay that a little bit, and oh, nicely done by Jjakji. I really like this opener already.
And, you know, that Reaper is a bit annoying here for him to... Because he has to now deal with the Reaper with the Mothership core and has to wait for the Stalker to come out here and really fend this off for a second, whilst he did find it just with the probe. So, cancelling the Zealot, this is the risk you run, and Jjakji gets away with it for now.
You have a long way and long time to kill that Mothership core right here.
Yeah.
That engineering bay. Dear Mothership core.
Probe helps out.
Wouldn't it be funny if like he started +1, then as he's dying, he like lands the mule, then completes.
Oh god.
Takes a bit too long. Jjakji, look at Jjakji's base, his building placement and all that. This this looks very similar to what we've seen Polt do with his barracks. 3 barracks really committing to Bioforces, and we've seen Jjakji play a similar style and be successful with it before. Now, is he able to basically drop enough against his opponent that he does enough damage later on to gain some kind of a lead? Because in the previous game, the drops didn't do enough compared to what they were supposed to be. But Rain, hold on. Going for the Twilight here, I'm pretty sure this is going to be Blink in a second. He added on 2 extra gateways, so it could be a little bit of pressure, but definitely not going to be committing all that much to it. And by the way, if you look at Rain's build order, everything lines up perfectly. He starts a Stalker that should finish at about the same time as his Warp Gate finishes here, and he's going to have, again, 3 Stalkers out as his Warp Gate finishes. So he can morph his Gateway immediately, and he can start warping his Stalkers and build that Stalker count.
And there's already a pylon up to the north there, so he can continue that on. The Mothership Core has to run away as it's just using itself to have a little bit of a look around.
Yeah.
Marines, he already saw the barracks, the amount of barracks, so that's really important information to know. Jjakji, where are you going with this SCV? He's eventually going to scout out over towards his opponent, but he might see a lack of probes over at the... No, actually, no. He's pretty fine, actually, on that.
Does Rain go for a Robo behind this? It looks like he's actually committing a lot more than I thought he would to this. Which I guess makes sense. Since you're getting Blink, you might as well get at least up to 10 Stalkers, start blinking there and do damage on this map. One of the best maps for Blink play. You can really get into your opponent's face and do a lot of damage with those time warps and all that. And Jjakji, he's trying to react to this. He's getting a bunker. Actually, that factory placement, quite disagree with it.
That SCV just saw the Chrono Boost into the Twilight Council. So, he knows what's coming. He certainly does.
What is Jjakji doing? Look, he's moving down the ramp. What?
Ooh. The thing is, it's so hard to defend against this on this map because of the distance.
Oh, he's going to be out of position.
They're way out of position.
Oh, the Mothership Core.
Time warp, will it be enough to save it? Yes, it will. Oh, he gets up onto the high ground. He can't actually kill off that Mothership Core right now. Keeping that alive for Rain is so important as those Stalkers now work on the units that are coming straight out of these barracks.
This is a disaster here for Jjakji. He has to come back all the way. He's going to lose his factory. He has no Medivac tech. And he's going to have to remake.
Mothership Core, keep itself alive, keep itself alive. The Marines try and get it, and they do just in the very end. But a little bit of damage has still been done by Rain. How many workers has he killed? 14 workers.
Regardless, he's killed the tech lab, which basically, right now, Jjakji cannot afford to remake this tech lab. But you know what Jjakji says? He says, I have a lot of Bioforces, I'm still going to go for it. But in this case, I think Rain can just keep on trading decently.
Yeah, that's a lot of Blink Stalkers. Good control here by Rain. Jjakji tries to micro this on forward so that he can reach those Stalkers that blink to the back that are weakened. And eventually, he's trading blow for blow. He loses a lot of his Stalkers there.
And look at this, he pulls back and all of the shields are gone on his Stalkers. He's going to let that regenerate a little bit, or maybe let the new Stalkers tank up front.
Yeah.
And he might be able to close out this game here very early on.
Goes again. There's only one Marauder left in this army. Those Marines aren't going to be able to dispatch of these Stalkers too easily at all if that one Marauder ends up falling, but it doesn't matter for Rain. He brings down a lot of the Marines. Stalkers still remain. Look how low they all are at this point. The blink control has been fantastic from Rain here in game number 2. Daedalus Point proves to be Rain's map when it comes to the aggression, and it's going to be very, very hard now for Jjakji to hold on. GG, there you go. Rain takes the 2-0 lead.
Daedalus Point, a map on which even Rain wanted to show us the power of Protoson, apparently.
Yeah, I have to eat my words from the beginning of that. But whatever. He takes the 2-0 lead here in this round of 8. And now Jjakji, this is the position that Polt didn't want to be in that first series. Yes. And now Jjakji finds himself in it. And it's such a hard thing to recover. And you've got to remember, Rain hasn't dropped a map against Terrans, some of the best Terrans in the world, for months now.
And you know, as much as you can complain about this strategy and how hard it is to counter it, in this case, Jjakji didn't really do anything good at all. He moved down the ramp at the worst time. When units were being blinked into his main, he got his tech lab in his main sniped with Stimpack, actually quite a long way from started already, almost done at this point, which is basically the biggest disaster you can have happen to you in this case. He was out of position, took him forever to come back. That factory was cancelled. Again, the factory placement, what is this? It's like me and Manas Robo up front of our base waiting to be sniped.
Yeah.
This is not where you place your factory. So Jjakji is going to have to be a lot more careful, especially in the details like this, because small details, which in this case actually change everything, they matter a lot. And man, that's... You know what? I saw Paul do something very, very good earlier. He made the tech lab on his barracks, which was the furthest away from the ramp.
It's always so
and
important.
he placed it also a little bit all the way back, so that there is no way it could ever be cancelled. And now Jjakji, he didn't pay attention to that detail. He put it in his middle barracks, which actually might have been the closest one to the ramp. So when Rain blinked up that ramp here, this was the first thing he went for. And usually that does not happen all that often. In this case, the barracks they were very, very poorly placed. So
there's always a huge bullseye on it. And even back in Wings of Liberty, when we saw one base blink plays against Protoss, against Terran become something that Protoss would mix in, there was still a big bullseye on that tech lab. So it's not like it's a new thing. It's been around forever. And now Heavy Rain is our third map. Once again, Rain doesn't really look like as if he's broke a sweat yet in this best of 5. Whereas Jjakji is on the verge of elimination as we get that countdown ready for game number 3. This guy has got to be feeling the pressure. I mean, look at that. Look, the body language says quite a lot here. Jjakji's clearly frustrated.
Yeah, he's blinking very fast, and this had to be a frustrating loss.
All right, well, let's get into it, guys. Game number 3. We have a GSL champion going up against an OSL champion in Rain. And this is... it's not really going down to the wire just yet. Rain is dominating. Will he be able to go all the way? Will he take it the clean sweep? As we have spawning down to the bottom right. As our red Protoss, representing SK Telecom T1, it is Rain. And up to the top left-hand corner, we have our blue Terran representing My Insanity. It's Jjakji. You've got to stay mentally confident in yourself in Jjakji's position. It could be all too easy to get defeated in your mind.
It's never a good thing to show frustration heading into a game like this. He has to. This is the moment he has to start doing a comeback here and really showing quite some emotions actually after that second game. And this is another very good blink map here that Rain's playing on. Then again, there is always this question to, he just did it, is he gonna do it again? On this map, actually, he could go for similar blink play, but commit a little bit less to it. I really feel like it's situational, and also it depends on what he sees. What surprised me is that in the first game, Jjakji did such a good job of preventing that Mothership Core from getting into his main, whereas in the second game, he didn't do that at all. So the Mothership Core got there, it saw the barrack placement, and actually already from there, he had seen some of the add-ons. So Rain might have decided, you know what, I'm going to go for that.
Yeah.
Which you cannot really know if the Terran's going to be out of position the way Jjakji was, but Rain definitely seizing the opportunity that was presenting to him, and again, opening with 2 very quick gases here.
Right now, Rain's one of the favorites to win the whole tournament, and he's certainly showing that in flying colors here in the round of 8. Looking to power on forwards. Jjakji has a mountain to climb. The one way he's going to do that is by initially getting a Reaper and hopping up into his opponent's main base to have a little look around.
It's funny because the bracket of the tournament is like 4 Protosses, so it's Protoss All-Stars versus rest of the world, aka 3 Terran and 1 Zerg. But what this could quickly become if Rain keeps on owning everyone would be Rain versus Terran All-Stars, because if he wins this match, he faces Bolt, and then in the finals, he could face...
Innovation.
Innovation, yeah.
Yeah, you're right. That could be, it just could be the road to glory for Rain, who, again, hasn't dropped a map for months against Terrans, so that would be, I think, his ideal outcome when it comes to the tournament. But the lower half of the bracket is yet to unfold, and it could go a lot of different ways. There's so much class, world class, in this round of 8 bracket right now.
And Jjakji with the similar opener. Look at his barrack placement. It's actually very, very close to the ramp here, where Rain could possibly blink there. So,
and normally on this map, normally on this map, you would have those barracks placed up to the top left, as far up there as possible. Keep those way out of the way. There's almost no single way, no single path available to Protoss to blink in up to that top left.
I really like that Jjakji always forces a Zealot out of Rain, and oh, actually, is he gonna die?
No.
He's gonna die. Okay, I don't like that.
This is Jjakji's frustration coming out,
Yeah,
man.
it might be.
That should not be happening at this level here for Jjakji.
And you know, if he... Okay, Twilight Council has started. If Jjakji gets a tech lab on that one barracks that just finished... No!
Oh, it's the wrong place, Jjakji. Oh.
All right. Jjakji, he's really going to have to place his army perfectly
Yeah.
against what's going to come his way. Because if we have some very blink play, some very aggressive blink play...
The mothership core.
And his armies are... Well, what do you expect it to do? Kill that?
Well, if it
center?
sees the positioning of the tech lab, right, then
Yeah,
it'll be like,
but-
maybe I'll commit to this a bit fuller.
You know, as much as these barracks, they are not placed greatly, on this map it's going to be easier. You have a lot less space to cover.
Yeah.
So I expect the army to basically stay around the ramp and around those barracks here. But still, I'm a little bit surprised that he went for the tech lab on that one barracks. Definitely a worse choice than going for it on the other one.
Well, Stim has now begun. Will he be able to finish it is the big question. As he does spot the expansion there, and that Stalker, whoa, actually he lets that SCV, he could have killed that. He gets an indication he could have killed that SCV. He mismicroed his Stalker just for a split second as he pulled it back there for a minute, a spot, and now he sees the Twilight Council.
Yeah, and he actually, I don't think he saw if Blink was being researched, so having gotten an engineering bay here, oh, he starts a turret! He thinks that he's getting tricked right now. This is basically one out of two chances. There is no third scenario here. It's either Blink or DT. Sometimes it's both. The thing is, you cannot risk not having any detection. We saw Jjakji struggle against Dark Templars before.
Oh, there's the extra gateways. 4 of them, in fact. This is much more pressure than we saw.
More than 4.
Oh, okay. 6? No, 5. Whatever. There's gateways, Todd.
6 gateways in total. Going to be coming up here by Rain, who hasn't actually started proxying pylons. He's going to send a single probe across the map. This should be able to find its way there and get that one proxy pylon. Is going to be so important. And actually, this is going to hit much later, I think, than in the previous game. Because, look, Stimpack this time should definitely finish before this begins.
It should, but now Rain is going to commit to overwhelming numbers.
Yeah.
And his brilliant micro to just win him out there in game number 3. He could go for the 3-0 clean sweep here if he's able to make this work. He absolutely has to keep his mothership core alive.
I like how a single SCV has found its way across the map. Actually, he could spot the gateways. I don't think he's going to be looking behind the middle line of the expansion.
He's going to go in the main.
Oh, he's going to miss everything. He's going to have... Yeah, he's not going to know exactly how many gates he's up against, which definitely will help in possibly holding this.
He's seen not enough, and he probably still thinks it's like a Dark Templar shrine or something. He has a bunker in the main just to prepare for everything.
I don't think he thinks he's Dark Templar. Look, he's going to see the Stalkers now, and also
now.
Dark Templars should have hit by now. We are at the 9th minute. So he knows this is Blink, and can he hold? It's going to be so hard. Yes, he has Team Pack, though.
The SCV, he actually just moves on out there, but I mean, he has to know that there's more gateways. He sees the number of attacks there. Oh, and actually blinks up straight into this here, and this, well, with Stim being done, the Mothership Core falls. This is a great little move around the bottom left-hand side here for Jjakji to kill that off, and he pushes these Stalkers away. This was fine for Jjakji.
Yeah, it was fine. Stimpack was used on a lot of those units, and he really needs to get Medivacs out as soon as possible. And look, Rain's transitioning. He knows he cannot continue the aggression here. He doesn't have the Mothership Core to blink up the ramp, and there is no way he can attack into those 2 bunkers. They would just be repaired. So he throws down the Forge and the Templar Archives, and this timing missed completely here.
Exactly. It was violently miscalculated by Rain there. So now he's going to have to sit back. Do you think he goes like charge? Yeah, okay, charge Archon.
Yeah, definitely.
And then just transitions on from there.
He might even rush for Storm. Actually, I don't think he's going to have enough time to complete that before Jjakji attacks. With those first 2 Medivacs, with the way that Jjakji has held this, even though he had to use Team Pack, he saved a lot of his Bioforces. He didn't lose that much in comparison to what Rain lost. And the transition takes quite some time. So he starts Storm. This should not finish on time. Actually, nice pick off here on some of those Bioforces. But if we look at the army supply, 44 to 40. But again, Jjakji, he has Team Pack. And as much as he's actually not going to have combat shield, which is a big deal with the amount of Marines he has.
And also, he's going to have +1 before armor even finishes. So that's a bit of a bad spot here for the Protoss, as that damage will be dished out very quickly.
Oh, this is so smart here. He's going to delay this attack a lot.
That's good.
And he's definitely going to be able to get charged, by the way, man. Those Koreans, their Storm completes twice as fast as everybody else because they Konobus it out perfectly. Yeah. Every time that I think that there's going to be a pre-Storm's timing, there is not. The attack and Storm is already ready, so Rain is actually going to be fine.
Look at the army that he's been able to get behind this. I mean, yes, he had a lot of gateways, so it certainly complements it after the aggression, but now He moves forwards. He's going to see those High Templars. He's going to get stormed. Oh, yes, he's going to get stormed. That first one was a blinder.
I could blink and get those many
Oh, that was a really good trade for Rain, considering his circumstances.
It's an Archon behind this, and man, Jjakji again missing his own timing here. He's getting some Widowmine behind this, which I like since there is no Robo yet. But as I say that, the Robo is being thrown down range just too good to forget about it. And Jjakji going for a third base here. No Ghost Academy has started yet. So far, in almost every game that we've seen in a similar situation, Deterrent did not do well. Playing without Ghosts right now versus this Templar play of those top Protoss players, it just doesn't work.
And I think Rain here will probably look to... I think he will look to transition onto Colossi a little bit quicker.
But we saw Classic actually being very reluctant to transition into Colossi. He always went for the one War Prism and big Templars drop and huge storms. And what we've seen from those SKT1 Protosses a lot is similar play. Even though Rain's style overall versus Terran is very different than the Classics, with a lot more passive play usually, which in this series has not really particularly been true. Yeah, look, he goes for the War Prism.
Yeah, this is
I think he's going to commit to a similar thing than what Classic did.
He has to be careful, though. Because his Robo was a little bit later than usual, he doesn't have any observers to keep an eye on these drops, so this is a big, big difference to what we were seeing in the previous games. A drop on the right-hand side with a few units, drop in the main with a lot of units. That High Templar that was warped in to try and deal with this goes down instantaneously, and a few more reinforcing units aren't going to see the light of day. Oh, and getting that Forge with +2 armor will end up falling. A great pickup there by Jjakji. This is exactly what he needs to come back into this series.
Oh, he has some Widowmines in the natural. He needs to pay attention to.
Just chilling out, man. He picks him up and drops him again. Just gets one. And yeah, so actually Rain doesn't realize that. Gets a few probes for his troubles.
That's very much unlike Rain. In the meantime, Jjakji's upgrading even more. Man, he really needs that Ghost Academy. I don't think he can close this out without one. And right now he's doing pretty well, but we've seen Storm basically make comebacks from worse games than this. What's happened here? And there's not that many units in the main for Rain here, but those medivacs low on energy actually helping Jjakji quite a lot, because feedback does not do much damage to them every single time.
Yeah, that's very, very true. He absolutely has to keep those low on energy if he wants to continue that on against this High Templar play. But now the Ghost Academy is about to finish up for Jjakji. As he moves into the middle of the map to flex his muscles and maybe even try for a little push. But how many High Templars do we have? We have 6 out right now. 2 of them are in that Warp Prism looking to go for a Storm drop by the looks of things.
Some of them are in a weird position around the third base.
Just going for a flank.
Yeah, hiding them a little bit. Jjakji needs to react very quickly.
Storm's in the third base. Oh, he did react fast, though.
A single CV died here.
Yeah, very good reactions.
Why was there Marauders on the top right-hand side here? There was like they were like hugging each other for.
They were comforting one another. But we have a big, big drop once again. Actually, this building placement works against him, but a nice Storm will eventually hold them at bay for a second, up until the point where the Zealots really can't get at them. Also pushing onto the third base, killing off the High Templars before they do anything. A few more do come on from the right-hand side. Really nice Storms will try and keep that down, but at the same time, the Forges fall once again. Jjakji is playing out game number 3 fantastically. In the main base, the Warp Prism tries to penetrate and does get some Storms down on some of those SCVs, but the third base has fallen for Rain. Jjakji's playing this great.
Yeah, and I think he has too big of a lead now for Rain to be able to come back without Colossi. So Rain definitely gonna need to start taking onto Colossi. But look at the upgrades. Rain is stuck on 0-1. Jjakji is about to be 2-1.
Yeah,
he's 2-1 right now. And
I think he has to go.
Yeah.
Like, there's no other option.
It's Rain. He doesn't have to go. He's gonna make a Nexus and try to come back in a defensive game. He has his Warp Prism across the map. That's going to be caught, actually, by the Ghost.
Bye-bye.
Oh, my God. This definitely lowers his chances even more. And Double Forge goes down behind this.
Wow, he is going to try and play it out longer.
And actually, he made a Robo Bay now. I think, did he cancel? I think he was getting a second Robo. He might have cancelled it, realizing that he needed Colossus more than he needs more Immortals. And at this point, the Templars are his only chance, but we have Ghosts out on the map. We've seen crazy comebacks in PvT, but with the lead that Jjakji has, there is
9 Ghosts.
Almost no way he should lose this.
A big, big army supply advantage here for Jjakji. He's looking in good form here in game number 3 to take at least a map back against the terror that is Rain, that Again, hasn't lost a map for a very long time.
Rain's not ready. This is going to get sniped.
By High Templars. Could get a few more on this right-hand side. Nice EMP, lands on one of them. The second EMP lands on a lot of those Zealots, and he actually has to just forfeit that third base. There's no way he can defend that. A few more snipes, a few more pot shots. Zealots die. Rain gets forced into a very uncomfortable position away from his natural. Archon will end up falling, and unfortunately for Rain here, he's just being ran around the map. He can't take this fight, but he has to turn around. He has to do something. He knows he's in a bad spot. GG, game number 3 goes to Jjakji. He is not going down without a fight.
I think that's so funny how Rain is so reluctant to take a bad fight that even when he has no choice, he's like running away.
Yeah.
He's like, never will I take a bad engagement.
Well, Rain stays true to his form, but in the end, Jjakji's able to persevere on through there in game number 3. So Jjakji's hopes are still alive here, Todd. They certainly are. But before we get into game number 4, guys, we are going to take a short break. So join us after it when we'll get into game number 4 between Rain and Jjakji.